When I talk to Trump supporters, there's one issue and one issue alone that would define him from being a great president to one of the greatest presidents, and that issue is him prosecuting the people that tried to effect a coup against him in his first term, sabotaged his re-election campaign, and now in his second term are trying to subvert him yet again and cause World War III. I'm talking, of course, about James Clapper, John Brennan, Jim Comey, and Barack Obama and his ilk. So we're going to watch a video now. I'm Preston Bates, an independent journalist. We're going to watch Alex Jones diving into Trump's recent post and decision to say it's time to indict Obama. I believe, and Alex believes, that this one single issue could not only help him uncover and recover all the ground he lost in July with the Iran strikes, with the Elon fallout, with all the debt in the one big beautiful bill, with basically his issue covering up the Epstein files and all of that, all of the momentum that he's lost. He could easily regain that and probably gain 10 to 20 seats in the House in 2026, maybe 2 to 3 Senate seats in 2026, and set up the presidency to win and stay Republican in 2028 if he simply prosecutes the bad guys. Let's hear a quick overview of what we're expecting to hear in this video, and you'll stay with me and I want to react to what we're going to hear.
Mr. President, do you think that Congress should start impeachment proceedings against Barack Obama?
Well, it's not an impeachment. He's out of office.
But
they should do something because you have to recognize the wrong that they've done, and it can never be allowed to happen again. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Trump has come out with a new statement on Truth Social and on X. It's time to indict Obama, the traitor, for treason. Yes. And he's beating that drum. And here he is. President Trump tells Gateway Pundit what he thinks of impeaching Obama for leading the Russian collusion hoax. They keep saying collusion hoax. It was a coup to try to remove him and say all of his supporters were Russian agents and persecute people and use the CIA and other groups domestically on me and a bunch of other folks. And it went on raiding Mar-a-Lago and covering up the laptop and stealing elections. And I told you it needs to extend into 2024, and it is, like I told you a month ago. You've now seen the director of the CIA, the FBI head, all of them told you, no, we're going after everything. So the statute of limitations is not over. Yeah, Comey and them perjuring themselves, that's past the statute, not all this other stuff. It has to be done. Trump.
So there you go. We got an overview of what we're going to hear in this video. We're going to talk about people say, oh, they perjured. The statute of limitations is 5 years. Yeah, that's true. But there's other statutes that have longer, statutes with longer limitations for other crimes. So we're going to get a preview of what Trump could be doing, the intelligence that Alex Jones is getting directly from his sources about what Trump's intending to do. And if Trump decides to go down this path, and by the way, Alex has never predicted, unlike all the Q people, that indictments were imminent, Trump's paying some $7 trillion DHS. He's never gone down that rabbit hole. So for him to come out and lean over the skis a little bit, or get right over the skis, rather, and say, I think their indictments, they're brewing, they've got this budget, they've got Ed Martin, who's been a friend of Alex's for more than a decade, who should have been a U.S. attorney, and Tom Tillis, Republican senator, now not running for re-election of North Carolina, put the kibosh on that, unfortunately. But now Ed Martin is emboldened, has maybe a stronger position and a massive budget to go after and look at the weaponization of government. So let's hear what Alex has to say here.
Has publicly come out and he'd been even stronger and said it's time to indict Obama, the traitor, for treason. And this morning, he talked to the Gateway Pundit reporter and said, yes, we need to impeach Obama so that he can be indicted. So you have to impeach him, strip him of the title of president. You can do that retroactively. You can do that posthumously. Posthumously being he's not in office. Strip him of the immunity. It's 100% cut and dry, as Attorney David Schoen, the top lawyer, has stated. It's cut and dry. And it also needs to be done to Biden. And I'm telling you, they're going after Hillary. They're going after Comey, Brennan, all of them. That's coming up. And I mean, they have every intention of indicting their asses. And they don't need to strip them of presidential immunity because they don't have it.
Just think about that for a second. Alex is saying that DOJ has every intention of indicting people. But think about what they put Donald Trump through and Mike Flynn through in the first administration. All of it turned out to be knowingly fraudulent misinformation set up and information laundering through third parties and foreign governments to try to remove and hamper the democratically elected president of the United States. I mean, that scandal would still be the greatest scandal in human history if it wasn't followed immediately by the COVID scandal. And so the weight of that, I think, really still hasn't set in for most people. So let's hear Alex talk about what's likely to happen.
So, kind of a big deal. We've got that video of Trump saying it and more. We also had Robert Barnes here yesterday calling for it and saying that's the way to do it. And again, I want to be very clear. I don't say this to sound holy or magnanimous or, no, I'm serious. We don't want Obama indicted, defrocked of his presidential title and protections, and then indicted out of vengeance or out of hatred. We don't want James Comey indicted out of vengeance or hatred, or any of them, John Brennan and the rest of the crew.
And the belief.
Though I do love them. We don't fight and go after the enemy because we hate them. It's because we love our families and our culture and our freedom, and we must.
And the institutions of government. I mean, we can't allow the very nature and very idea of a monarchical, a very small government itself to be completely invalidated, because the alternative is actual autocracy or anarchy. And those aren't good alternatives. And no one's served well from that. So it's not that the concept of government itself is broken, although those are interesting philosophical discussions. It's the people that are administering the offices of government that have been corrupt, and those actors need to be prosecuted so that the public can restore faith in institutions. Gallup has been running longitudinal studies on public trust and confidence in institutions, and it's just been declining over every institution for decades. And so how do we recover the trust of the public? There have to be prosecutions, simply for no other reason than to protect the integrity and the trust of the institution itself, no matter who holds the office. Let's continue.
You indict the kingpins, you indict just one of them, and all of their minions that are still battling on more viciously than ever, attacking this country, attacking sovereignty, attacking any other sovereign individuals, attacking Trump's key supporters. I mean, they're more frantically attacking me and everybody else. Everybody from General Flynn to Mike Lindell to MTG to Tucker Carlson. So they have not given up. And they must be crushed. This is not about vengeance. It's not even about justice, though it is justice and justice needs to be done. It's about survival. We are not in the old political system where the uniparty, Republicans and Democrats, fought over power, but didn't go after their kingpins because they wanted basically immunity to do whatever they wanted.
This is such a key point because, the conversation in Fox and ABC, CBS, NBC, even in most halls of power is like, well, power is good, but we don't like what they're doing with power. We want to be a better custodian of power. Governments, there isn't some global cartel or cabal and grand conspiracy to depopulate the planet and to abuse people's liberties and turn them into transhuman serfs. No, that's not going on. What we really need to do instead is to do the same thing, but we want to do it with our version of it. Well, what Alex is saying here is that this is no longer about a different flavor of government and the uniparty. This is about survival because these people have touched the third rail and have decided to actually revert back into feudalistic instincts where they're just eliminating people that they don't like, as if there is no rule of law and as if the nation state effectuates no civil liberties and no constitutional rights. And so defeating these people is akin to surviving. Defeating these people is akin to the nation state itself surviving, to the very concepts, all the way hearkening back to Magna Carta and our rights from God, even 1,200 years before that. So that's what Alex is saying, and I couldn't agree more. Let's continue listening.
They'd burn a few low-level people here and there to keep up the illusion of not living under a uniparty dictatorship. So that's where we are right now. This must be done. There is no way, if they don't start indicting these people and dismantling the entire deep state, not enough to cut their money off. I mean, they've already made some big gains, but not enough. We've wounded the enemy politically, but they're not lethal wounds.
It's time to go for the headshot. Politically.
I'll put it to you this way.
Non-violently.
If we keep pressing the attack, they won't be able to tend to the wounds that actually are grievous. But we got to press the attack. We got to politically, non-violently plunge double-edged daggers into their carotid arteries.
Totally agree.
And just stab, 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 stab. Non-violently, politically. That is an analogy I was using. But we need to, with direct force, plunge. Plunge, 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 plunge. It's good therapy. So, or they're going to chemicalize all your sons and cut their dicks off, okay? They're going to take all your children, the CPSs, and hand them over to pedophiles. That's their plan. They are going to absolutely poison you with fluoride and deadly shots. They are going to rain down aluminum dioxide and barium and other radioactive isotopes. They are going to just run around starting giant wars and releasing bioweapons and locking you in your house to starve to death and defunding the police and pumping in fentanyl. They want to murder you. They are a satanic death cult. And if you study civilizations throughout history, they'll be stoic, they'll be strong. You know, there's a death penalty for infidelity. That's how the Romans started. It's how all those cultures started. It's how the Jews started. And then by the end of it, whether it's the Babylonians or the Jews or the Egyptians or the Druids or the Aztecs, by the end of their system, they are literally sacrificing children, drinking blood, raping children on top of idols. Every culture, Asians, Africans, whites, every group's done it. There's a big thing the white supremacists, the anti-Jew people push. And they go and they show like mainline history books and things about all these different Jewish sects throughout the Middle East, you know, sacrificing children and all that. And then the Jewish groups come out and say, that's blood libel, we don't do that. And of course, there's been all sorts of Jewish Satan cults. But everybody's got them. I'm not defending Jews. I'm not attacking Jews. It is a historic fact that in the decline of civilization or society, culture, it always reverts to this. And you're like, where does it come from? And it always ends with raping children in public, torturing them, draining their blood, and then killing them. Usually throwing them on a fire. So that's the reality of it's a sick spiritual mind virus. And you see it all around you. And it always leads to collapse, total war, and destruction. Look at the Germany and the U.S. in the 20s brought on a depression, and then it conjures things like Adolf Hitler. Again, I'll be 100% clear with everyone, especially long-time listeners know this. You don't need to be told, but new listeners need to know this. I don't blame anybody that hears that there's deep state indictments coming forever and it never happens, and so no one believes it's going to happen. I'm the guy saying it was pure bull in the first Trump administration and all the rest of it. and RFK, cousin's going to come back from the dead, JFK Jr., and all that lunatic asylum stuff. I told you that the first attorney general was absolutely a wimp and in over his head. And oh no, Sessions was going to, and I went right down the line of the big mistakes Trump made and who he brought in and all the rest of it.
These are facts, people.
This time, he's got a team. Maybe 10% of Trump's team was good in the first administration, and by the end of it, they got rid of basically everybody. Everybody just ran off or got indicted or sued to oblivion. And the people that wouldn't leave, they put in prison like Navarro and others who are back. Now, I'd say at the top, he's got about 90% good guys in. And he's created task forces that they're now calling strike forces. That's the real technical name. Where they've got all these agencies and all these angles, and they're looking at every level. And they're going to hit low level, mid level, and high level. They're not going to wait and go to the bottom and work up. They're not going to go to the top and work down. They're going to hit the bottom, the middle, and the top. And it's already begun. And they're getting their ducks in a row, and they're releasing all these documents to prepare the ground or poison the well is what it's called. And unlike the Democrats putting out lies about Trump before all their indictments and lawfare, this stuff's all meat and potatoes.
This is about to dominate the
news
this
summer and stuff that is really cut and dry. And I've been told, even before he got back in, that he's got people coming in with every intention of going for the jugular. And I've talked to those people, but I'll just stop there.
So there you go. Alex is saying he has firsthand knowledge that there are people inside the DOJ that are going for the jugular of this entire criminal cabal and enterprise to try to cut the head off. I mean, that is massive, 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 massive breaking news. And the announcement from the DOJ is only 8 days old as of today. So no one's yet talking about this because people are still caught up with their own pet issues, whether it's Israel or all the race politics or Epstein or whatever it is. It's also summer, so people aren't paying attention yet. But if Trump can champion and own this one single issue, the singular issue of prosecuting these people that have subverted democracy and think they're above the law, they think they're God. All the things they're accusing Trump of is, of course, what they themselves are doing. They're the autocrats. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in rights. They want to silence their opposition. They act like fascists. So if these people are about to be revealed, you better believe they're going to squirm. They're squirming, and they're trying to find a way to keep Trump under, from revealing their identities and their involvement, a la the Epstein file. But Alex is saying he's talked with the people who are responsible for heading up this entire operation. Let's continue.
And I've been like, quite frankly, I want InfoWars defended, but I'd rather take out the main capital ships here in the war because they're going to get us all if we don't get them. And it's like, no, they got sloppy with you. We're going to hit them at every level. So give us everything. Okay. So, I mean, they're busy little beavers. Billions of dollars has been allotted to two task forces, strike forces, people know about. But there are some other strike forces, and they have every intention and the mission to indict.
Amazing. And this is great news.
Weaponization of the government task force, that's what the government weaponization is the people task force, stop that. Has jurisdiction all over the country and can bring it where it wants, not in D.C. And this new one of this treason task force, criminal conspiracy, treasonous conspiracy task force, has the mission to indict. So, amazing. Will we see all these indictments? I don't know. They could kill Trump tomorrow. Who knows what they'll do to the people on the task force going after him? I mean, we're dealing with the mafia here. And these people do some really nasty stuff. Their favorite thing is to come to your house, taser everybody, and then they kill your wife and kids, and then kill you, and then it's in the news, it's a murder-suicide. That's one of their favorite things to do. Or they just send someone to your house to kill you. So, I mean, look, understand, everybody wants to go to war with the deep state. Well, if you want to go to war with them, you better know what war means. And by the way, I am at war with them. I know they're not backing down. They're not giving us quarter. We're not giving them quarter. By the way, if you don't know the terms of chivalry, quarter means that you're finally beating somebody and you got them on the ground before the fight. You can have classic fist fight and the rules of it, or you can have a fight with clubs, and it's understood you could die, but it's not a guarantee, but you accept you could be killed. And then you've got fights with swords or spears or the rest of it, and classic jousting. That's just middle-aged gladiatorial activity. But it was free men doing it to settle scores and things like that. So they didn't have full wars, just have the top guys fight. It's like the movie El Cid, that's a true story. Why have the kingdoms all kill each other? We'll just have our two champions fight, and that'll decide who gets this disputed area. Pretty good way to do it. So, oh my God, Spanish history is just, I probably read 10 books on it, medieval Spanish history, total. I mean, you can read a Conan the Barbarian book, but it's real. I mean, just wild stuff, folks, but side issue. All of it's amazing, but Spanish history is just amazing. And so, but segueing, Quarter means, all right, this is a lethal battle, say on jousting on horseback. But if somebody's knocked off and really hurt, and has got a spear halfway through them, if they take the handkerchief off their side and throw it down of their family colors, or tap out, like in UFC, say, I give up, you give up. But then you've got jousting where people are really pissed off and they say, no quarter given, no quarter received. And that means once you knock the person off and jump down with your battle axe or your sword, you don't give them quarter, you go and hack their head off. Well, newsflash, the globalists ain't giving us quarter. So we weren't looking for this fight, but we're in it, so we politically have to go all the way. You want to show a really, it's a true story, excellent movie. You know, I can't say Matt Damon.
We're going to
Jackson survived armor.
He's just using some example from a movie here to talk about quarter
We
and
did it in Texas still,
brutality of it all.
1890s.
Duels.
Now, that's what's going on here, people. So that's what the Trump administration needs to know. They do know that. You have to politically destroy them, legally and lawfully, non-violently, or America and the world goes under the New World Order death cult. Very simple. So I'm all in. What about you?
Binary.
I mean, they're going to keep attacking us anyways. Might as well fight. I mean, you know,
Exactly.
they're not going away till we deal with them.
And we need to use
So,
the government and the
Trump
system of constitutionality to prosecute these people and put on a public spectacle so that everyone can see for their own eyes what happened and how it was done. That way we shame these people from ever trying to do it again, at least until the next cycle where they do this again in thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years.
It's come out with a new statement on Truth Social and on X. It's time to indict Obama the traitor for treason. Yes. And he's beating that drum. And here he is. President Trump tells Gateway Pundit what he thinks of impeaching Obama for leading the Russian collusion hoax. They keep saying collusion hoax. It was a coup to try to remove him and say all of his supporters were Russian agents and persecute people and use the CIA and other groups domestically on me and a bunch of other folks. And it went on raiding Mar-a-Lago and covering up the laptop and stealing elections. And I told you it needs to extend into 2024, and it is, like I told you a month ago. You've now seen the director of the CIA, the FBI head, all of them told you, no, we're going after everything. So the statute of limitations is not over. Yeah, Comey and them perjuring themselves, that's past the statute, not all this other stuff. It has to be done. We are finally sitting on top of them politically with the spike above them. And right now, the Trump admin has yet to start, and they're going to try to block it and pull their games and all the rest of it, state false flags, but we'll get that in there if we try. Just politically, non-violently, ram it into their brain. Now, attack, 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 attack. Stop taking it.
Exactly. That's what the Epstein thing is, an attempt to make Trump responsible for the Epstein file, to draw him into it so that he has become part of this, scandalizing himself. And that's the tragedy of it. And that's why he needs to disclose it. If he did disclose it, even if there's false information about him and Melania in there, I think his support, if he said that, I think his supporters and his base would support him and understand that this is yet another theater of battle against Trump. If he did that, he could expose the people, expose all these other people. I think a lot of the attention would go off of him on all these other people. And then he could smack them with these indictments and the DOJ and do like a 1-2 punch and then prosecute these people. And there'll be no goodwill toward these people. And they'll all probably be prosecuted and found guilty. Or hopefully they have a fair trial. We don't want these things overturned on appeal. We want justice to prevail. But Trump needs to be seen as the person bringing sunlight, the greatest disinfectant, to these true scourges that are facing our government. Let's finish up with Alex.
Good God, how much BS are we going to deal with here? It's called self-preservation, for heaven's sakes. We don't have a choice here.
Exactly.
This isn't about vengeance. It's not about justice. It's about survival. And of course it's justice. Because justice is about having civilization. It is about having a social contract. It is about evil knowing that it's got a very good chance, if it does bad stuff, it's going to get thrown in prison. And as I said decades ago, I don't know how all this is going to end. But if they want to fight, they better believe they got one. And now they're getting it, aren't they? And we can't hesitate at our moment of victory. To stop calling it the Russia collusion hoax. It's the coup plot against America and the American voters to set up a domestic police state to, quote, purge MAGA. It's a totalitarian cult of satanic lunatics trying to start a damn nuclear war and flood us with military-age men from the most dangerous, barbarous shitholes on the planet.
Well said.
And shipping in fentanyl and cutting off our energy supplies and harassing our farmers. These people hate our guts. They don't want to run the country and have success and share in everybody's success like Trump. They are chicken shits that love control over people because they hate themselves subconsciously and they project their inner suicidal, nihilistic, loser mentality onto us. And we're not the losers. Look at Pelosi. Look at John Podesta. Look at Obama. Look at King Charles. Look at Klaus Schwab. Look at Bill Gates. They are scum, and they know they're scum. And they don't like those of us that are strong and have will and have real power. That's why we don't use our power, because we innately have the power. And we have a governor on the power. They don't have real power. It's why they want power, because they don't know what power is. Power is responsibility.
Amen.
Power is a burden. Leadership is a weight. But because they never had the crown of leadership, they ever seek it and think leadership is putting your thumb on people. No, leadership is setting people free by example. And because you're so exceptional, you're going to lead people into greater exceptionalism. That is leadership. Leadership is sacrificing yourself for the species, for the greater good of the future generations, because your ancestors were like that, and you want to follow in their footsteps as great men and women. That is fulfilling. That's what your soul wants. It's what your cells want. It's what your guts want. It's what your very sinews demand. But they are of their father, the devil, so they don't understand real power. And they're threatened by those that have power. They want to poison everybody with fluoride and 5G and GMO, so you got a bunch of stunted, diseased, sick people so you can rule an empire of wasting zombies? You want to be the god kings of zombie land? Wow. You're sick. Here's Trump talking to the Gateway Pundit.
Have a good time.
Yeah, thanks so much. Mr. President, what would you consider your biggest accomplishment following Scotland? Is it a new trade deal, the talks with the UK leader?
Well, trade deals are fantastic. They're making our country very rich. Our country's very, very rich. It's about time somebody did it.
Mr. President, do you think that Congress should start impeachment proceedings against Barack Obama?
Well, it's not an impeachment. He's out of office. But they should do something, because you have to recognize the wrong that they've done, and it can never be allowed to happen again. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Huge announcement, ladies and gentlemen.
There you have it. What Alex Jones really thinks about what Trump's going to do with an indictment of all of these criminals that perpetrated a great fraud and a coup to subvert democracy against the American people, and how important and why it's so important for us to do that for this generation, basically for our own survival and for all future generations, maybe for the survival of the nation state itself. Remember, the agenda is to subvert completely the nation state. Klaus Schwab famously bragged about we capture democracies, we subvert them, that they all report up to us. So that's the vision of a one world government. It's not even really a government, that's a misnomer. It's a one world system, a control system, a control grid, where nation states are subverted and report up to this kind of corporate overlayer that has no democratic control. And they're on record talking about bringing the Earth's population down to 100 million. Right now it's 7, 8 billion people. So that's a lot of people, that's a lot of zeros that need to come off. So our choices are fight for our survival as a race and be bold and be strong and be proud, or we can experience an endless cascade of emergencies, all of which have the common denominator of undermining and reducing our liberty and freedom. Until next time, I'm Preston Bates.